glad you're here. It's awesome to see the interaction that we're having and the comments that you're bringing and all of that. And keep doing that. Keep commenting. Keep asking questions. We're going to answer those as we go and as the week continues. And we just love the interaction that's happening on social media right now. Yesterday we talked about this idea of fear. And we're going to continue that. Yesterday we said the unknown without patience produces frustration. And one of my favorite verses came up, 2 Timothy 1:7. It says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline." So we know that anything in the world that causes us fear does not come from our Father. It does not come from God. And so we are carriers of courage. Everywhere we go, we're going to carry courage, and we're going to combat fear with everything that we have, because we know that we have more power, we have more love, and we have more self-discipline, because those things are what comes from God, not fear or any anxiety or worry or anything like that. Today, what I want to share with you is the unknown drives us closer to the Father. Being in the unknown, being in this place of what are the answers, allow it to draw you closer to the Father. David says this in the Psalms. He says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me." David, he's speaking to us in these Psalms, and he's saying a lot of encouraging things in this passage. And what he wants us to understand is we are not going to be living in the valley. We're not going to be living in fear forever. We're not meant to set up camp. We're not meant to build a foundation in the valley. We're meant to walk through it. And we can walk through this shadow of fear. We can walk through these low times. We can walk through a valley because we know that God is with us the entire way. And we might be walking through a valley. You might be going through some different things right now. We might be going through the unknown, but we're not going to be there forever. This is not something that is going to last forever, and that's exactly what fear wants you to think. Fear wants you to believe that this is the way things are going to be forever, or they might get worse than what they are right now. And that's simply not true. We know that God is with us. We know that He is walking right beside us, and that He is going to deliver on His promises, and He's going to use everything that has been going on for His glory. He is going to be honored. He's going to be glorified. He's going to fulfill His purpose with everything that's going on. He will use fear. He will use evil and turn it on itself for His glory. And so while we are walking in this valley, we know that it's our connection with Him, it's our closeness to Him that is going to determine the amount of fear that's in our life. Let me say it like this: fear decreases as the distance from the Father decreases. As we get closer and closer to the Father, the fear in our life just shrinks smaller and smaller. And so when we are going through these times, we must stay connected to God. We must stay worshiping God. So in this time of not being able to gather, in this time of not being able to be face-to-face and meetings like we normally do, don't allow that to be an excuse to not stay connected to the Father, to not stay connected to each other, to not be worshiping Him daily. This is a time for us to say, we are going to worship You daily. It might look different than we did it before, but God, You are still number one. God, You are first priority. And this isn't just a weekly thing. This is a daily thing. This is something that we are doing day in and day out. The size of the fear in our lives is determined by the distance from our Father. The level of fear we experience is directly related to the closeness we are to the Father. So if we stay connected to Him every day, fear won't be able to have a place in our lives. We won't be able to let fear have a foothold, to plant its seed, to grow at all when we are so connected with God, when we put Him first, when we say, God, I'm going to wake up in the morning praising Your name. I'm going to go to bed at night praising Your name. You are on my mind day after day after day. And we need to work together. We need to stay connected in all the ways possible. He's given us so many ways for us to stay connected, even though it's not technically face-to-face on a Sunday or a Wednesday or anything like that. Work hard to stay connected to each other as we go and figure this thing out together. How many of you have ever been in a situation where you were afraid of something, but because you were with other people, you weren't as scared of it? I can remember when I was little, and I started staying home by myself. My mom had these porcelain dolls, and if you've ever seen these porcelain dolls, I don't know why people would ever decide to collect these things, but these things freaked me out. And I can remember times when I was by myself in the house, and all of a sudden I would just be thinking of these porcelain dolls, and she had them in her bedroom. She had some in the basement as well. And so I would go down to the basement, and when you go to the basement and you turn the lights off, you're immediately sprinting up those stairs. You know what I'm talking about. And so I would turn off the lights in the basement and think that those dolls were chasing me, and I was up those stairs so fast, Usain Bolt had nothing on me getting up those stairs. But for some reason, when other people were in the house, I was not afraid of anything. I wasn't afraid of the dark. I wasn't afraid of those dolls. So when we're with other people, fear seems to get smaller as well. So what I'm saying is, stay connected to each other. In these times, it's got to be through social media. It's got to be through different avenues. Don't allow this virus that's going around, these things that are being implemented to protect ourselves that are going around, to cause us to stop gathering together. It's just going to look different than it was before. Stay close to the Father, and the time that we spend in the valley is going to be okay. We're not going to be there forever. We're not setting up camp there. We're walking through it, and we're going to get on the mountaintop very, very soon.